Hey guys, Mr. Jalapeno here with another episode of Jalapeno Drywall. And on today's project, we're going to be repairing this hole here next to the light fixture in the bathroom. So first thing I did was I turned off the light and I also turned off the breaker just to be safe. Then I just removed the light fixture, not all the way, remember I did turn off the breaker, that way it's going to be a little bit safe. And then after that, I just plasticed everything off, that way I don't make a mess. If you do get any value from this video, don't forget to like and follow, it really helps out the channel. But anyways, next thing I did was I grabbed some 1/2-inch drywall and then I cut it into shape, as you can see right here. You can also make a square out of the hole if it makes it a little bit easier for you, but I thought this worked fine. I usually use wood backing to hold the drywall, or I could screw into that metal piece, but in this case, I'm just going to use my mesh tape as backing. This is going to help the drywall not fall into the hole, and then after that, I'm going to use a little bit of Easy Sand 5 to go over that patch. You can also just use regular joint compound. That's going to take forever to dry. That's why I recommend using this stuff, the Easy Sand 5. And as you can see, I'm just using my 6-inch to apply the hot mud over the patch. Then I'm going to apply some mesh tape over the drywall where the seams were. This is just going to help it from cracking out in the future. And I'm going to apply a little bit more hot mud over the mesh tapes I just put. That's just going to help cover them up. I then grab my utility knife and I cut out the excess mesh tape. That way I don't have to do such a big patch. Just make sure not to cut all the mesh tape out, because that's what's going to be holding the patch. And after I did all that, I let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes before I applied the second coat. The second coat, I am doing it a little bit thicker. That way it covers that mesh tape I applied. I always say to apply the mud like if you're putting peanut butter on your bread with a butter knife, if that makes any sense. Just make sure not to do it too thick where it's going to be bumpy, because if it's too bumpy, then you're going to notice the patch right away. And after I applied the second coat, I let it sit for another 10 to 15 minutes. Then I just applied a super thin third coat to get rid of any imperfections. Now I just grabbed a wet rag and I wiped the edge of the patch. This is just going to help blend in that patch better to the existing drywall, or to the existing texture there too. And obviously, if you don't have texture, all you have to do is just let it dry, sand it down, and paint it. But since I do have to texture, I'm going to be using the Easy Pro texture system. Why I like to use this is because cleanup is super easy. But if you don't want to use this stuff, you can also use the texture in a can. I'm not a fan of those, but it's an option. After you shoot the texture though, let it sit for another 5 to 10 minutes before you knock it down. I'm using the magic trowel to knock it down. You can also use your drywall knives to knock it down. Just be careful not to apply too much pressure, because then it's just going to be, a big flat spot there. And there we go. Look, this patch is almost done. I did tell the homeowner if he wanted me to come back to paint it another day. He said, yeah, that's fine. I usually recommend to let it dry for about 5 to 6 hours before you start painting. You can also put a fan on it in case you want to make this dry a little bit quicker. I just ended up coming a day after, so everything was 100% dry. Usually I ask my clients if they want me to come back and paint it, or if they're going to paint it. In this case, they asked me if I could come back, and I said no worries. As you saw there, I did put some blue tape around the light fixture. That way I get nice straight lines when I paint. It's also going to look way better in my opinion. All you have to do is just apply a little bit of caulking. What this is going to do is that it's going to help the paint not bleed through, and you're going to have, like I said, nice straight lines around there. But before you paint, make sure you get a wet rag and just kind of wipe off the overspray on the sides. Sand it down if it needs a little bit of sanding, and now you could paint. Luckily, the homeowner did have the paint. A lot of the times when they don't have the paint, it's a little bit harder just because I have to go track it down. Even if you color match the paint, sometimes it doesn't match 100%, so you're going to have to paint the wall corner to corner. But like I said, the homeowner did have the paint, so it just makes it way easier. Sometimes when you're painting and the paint's not 100% clean, you get what I call these little boogers. All you have to do is just kind of remove them with your finger and you should be good. Once I was done painting, I removed the blue tape, and as you can see, you have those nice straight lines I mentioned earlier. If you ever have to remove the light fixture in the future, all you have to do is just cut the caulking and you should be able to remove it super easy. What do you think of this repair? Could I have done something different? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to get any of the tools or materials that I used here in this video, just go to my Amazon storefront. Everything will be under Drywall Repair Essentials. The homeowners were really happy with their repair. I was happy with the repair. Everybody was happy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Jalapeno Solutions. Boom!